What's up? I want to say, first of all, I want to give a shout out to everybody who helped in his illness, in his ill state. We've lost a hip hop iconic great, Keith Grayson, who's known to the world as the legendary DJ K Slay. He went from being a regular name that you heard maybe a few times to a name that became a household figure. The rest in power thing came out. That's just a new phrase that people use from years ago because I guess rest in peace just meant something else. They just turned it into like it's a bad thing. Rest in peace mean finally you get to be at peace. You know, you don't have to deal with the worries of the world anymore. You're at peace. I don't know how that could be used in a derogatory way, but if you want to use power, fine. He's been ill for quite some time, battling the virus that's been crippling the world. Now, I can't tell you when the world first heard of him. I can tell you when I first heard of him. When I met him, everyone thought he was Capadonna. It was funny because he was like, "That's Capadonna from the Wu-Tang Clan. Yeah, he over there just chilling by himself." Which that's not unusual to see Kappa by himself. It's not unusual. But I had seen Capadonna plenty of times before, and I know Capadonna, right? No Kappa, but I don't really know uh, DJ K Slade that well. Heard of his name because of what was going on in Harlem with this whole thing with Jay-Z and this Rich and Porter situation and how that was being turned into a Mason Harlem world versus Jay-Z and Rockefeller, and that thing was brewing up because Harlem World was throwing shots at Jay, and then that's when Jay's like, "This ain't about Rich and Poe. I'm about Rich and Poe. Understand? I'm here to get this dough. This ain't about Brooklyn and Harlem. It's about fame and star. It's about me being on blocks you barred from." So this set up a trend to where this set up a trend that was developing on the streets because this guy named K Slay had all those tracks. You know, all the diss tracks seemed to be coming to him. He was the street. Normally, this goes to Clue. Clue be the one breaking the mixtape. Everybody trying to catch Clue to drop something. and all, and they was like K Slay. Who in the world is K Slay? And once his name was so iconic, and before he even was known, because you can't forget it. Who could forget a name DJ K Slay? You can't. You can't forget a name like that. That name is perfect. DJ K Slay. K Slay. Can't forget it. It is iconic. It's going to rest in hip hop lore. You couldn't forget the name. And this was like the late 90s when this was going on. So when all of this was like brewing with Jay, Jay was running hip hop at the time. Like he was just came out, DMX, all that wave. So he came up through the middle of this. So anybody who was against that energy, he had these songs. And at that point, New York was really not being heard. They were just listening to the mainstream guys. You had Ja Rule out there, you had all these other artists. So nobody was really checking for the real. And man, them people had a lot to say. So Jay-Z at the time was dealing with this whole Rockefeller blueprint coming out and doing his basically his taking over everything. So when Nas came out with the Stillmatic freestyle, right? He went through his usuals. Now DJ Clue is from Queens, and Nas is cool with him because he's from Queens after he, had to pull a strap on him before. But he cool with him now that he's from Queens. He signed basically, he got Desert Storm, but they basically dealing with Jay-Z and Rockefeller. So he not finna trust that to Clue. Even though Clue was the one to get the mixtape when they did the Stillmatic freestyle, they shut it down. The radio stations, everything, they just smothered it. So it was like never heard. This was a curse to Jay. And this was the first mistake Jay-Z made because he thought he was doing a good thing by silencing the record, trying to show his power. But when you went and silenced that record, what you did was set up everything to take yourself down. The Stillmatic freestyle was never heard of, but only by street people. But on the mainstream, the world had never really heard it. So when Jay-Z decided to add the verse into the takeover song for Nas, it was addressing everything in the Stillmatic freestyle. But the general public never heard it. Only the people that's attached to hip hop in the streets heard the Stillmatic freestyle. So they know where he responding to. Everybody else don't. So it looked like he just went off on Nas. This was the first mistake. So it looks like Jay threw a blow, right? He's not responding to the freestyle because that verse was never an album. Now we get to the facts. Sorry, I gotta take you back to history. You're gonna see what all this got to do with K Slay. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Now, while this is going on, the whole world is like hands up in the air. People are surprised, they're shocked about what's going on, and they buzzing and revving in the streets about K Slay. There's a lot of I mean, not about K Slay, but about the Takeover song. Nas is working on Ether. At this time when Ether comes out, Jay already don't like K Slay based on his connection to Harlem World. And as Harlem World's basically being shunned out from radio stations, from Philly, everywhere, they just not dealing with him. You're looking at it's a different movement now. It's a different energy. The streets feel like they being shunned. Their voices is not being heard. Where everyone else's voices get the front stage, and that's not how New York used to be. So Flex used to be that guy. Flex was the guy you can go to. Flunk Master Flex. He was the man. So when he hears somebody got all this heat, he want to know who they are and where they getting them from and why everybody trusting him. Who is this K Slay dude? Because people start bringing tapes to him and they was like, wait a minute. So while Clue and Flex are putting out records now, like with all these artists on them, big name artists, premiering records and all these different songs, and they like, wait a minute, who is this guy? Where he come from? How he get all the high records? Because those two are battling each other. They not noticing the new wave of DJs coming up who got the streets. So the first time Ether hits, K Slay got the record. DJ K Slay. It didn't go through Flex. It didn't go through any of them because they all had ties with Jay-Z. Angie Martinez, Nas didn't trust any of that anymore. And then he went straight to the streets and said, we're going to start from the streets and we won't give them a chance to bury this song like they buried the Stillmatic Freestyle. So after they did that, K Slay had the records. And boy, did they send everybody at him. They were mad as hell. DJ K Slay had to eat the record. And his name was everywhere. Yo, DJ K Slay. And no one knew who he was. Everybody thought he was. I told you, when we first met him and seen him person to person, people thought he was Capadonna. And I'm like, I've seen Capadonna. I'm like, it's not Capadonna. It's not Kappa. But a lot of people have heard his name and hadn't seen him before. But the Ether release gave him all that popularity, all that pull, all that juice. Then, right in the middle of this, you got the Locks going up against Rockefeller, Rock Nation, and all this stuff. So it's happening at the same time. This battle with D Block versus Rockefeller is going on at the same time as Jay-Z and Nas. So now everybody's roped into the drama. And that's the drama king is DJ K Slay. He came up right off that era. And when that started developing, that came up with the Street Sweepers Volume 1 that kicked off. And then he was brought in the Hot 97. Funk Master Flex brought K Slay over there. Basically, they wanted to hire him. They really didn't want to hire him. They just wanted his connections. Like, how are you getting this connected? And he was in the streets. He knew real street dudes. And Jay-Z was thinking about having him jumped, like beat up. It's a real spill, y'all. He came into Baseline Studios with Cam, and Jay was pissed. And he was like, "You might be a little careful about who you bringing up in here." He was like, "Why?" Now, what if I just went over there and just started beating the hell out of K Slay? Like, you see what I'm saying? So you gotta be a little bit careful about who you bringing around here. Cam was unaware that him and K Slay had a problem. Because even when that was going on, Cam never had a beef with Jay at that time, period. But he had that Harlem beef that was going on with Mace and his people. So he just assumed, that Harlem thing was with Cam. Cam was like, what? He was unaware of it. So K Slay ended up bringing up his first artist, which was Papoose. Clue had Fabulous. I mean, not Fabulous. Did Clue? Yeah, I think. No, Clue didn't have Fab. Somebody else had Fab. Um, I forgot who had Fab, but that wasn't Clue. Clue had brought in Cassidy. Oh, he had Fab too. Okay, Clue had Fab, and I'm trying to think. Swiss, yeah, Swiss had Cass. Okay, I do have that right. Clue had Fab. Swiss Beats had Cassidy. Okay, there it is. Yeah, so I did have it right. Okay. And and K Slay had Papoose. And this was the era where the DJs are putting out the rappers. They're saying, we gonna put out the rappers now. So this is the era. And Cassidy ended up jumping ahead of all of them because of what happened with Freeway. And Jay-Z basically torpedoed Freeway's career by doing that. Putting him on there, thinking Freeway is just going to destroy Cassidy. And Jay-Z's ego, once again, screws him up. And because of K Slay's connections and with Swiss and all these other guys, Cassidy ended up being that main guy. But this separates and severs a relationship with Jay-Z and Swiss Beats. So Swiss started dealing with K Slay. Like cool, Cassidy, Papoose and all this, they finna ride this wave and everybody finna drop these freestyles. And this is at the same time where G Unit, 50 Cent, Lloyd Banks, 50's dissing everybody this time. So all the songs are going to K Slay. K Slay had all the mixtapes out, the G Unit tapes, everybody. It was like as soon as they come out, he had it. Then John them was coming back. If you ain't had the street sweepers, you wasn't doing anything. So the Street Sweepers was running things back then. The Street Sweepers Volume One. Now remember, I'm from Chicago. Can you imagine what the streets in New York was like? Chicago was running rampant. The underground, like the street Chicago. Like we had the mixtapes. We ain't talking about what they dancing to in the club. These are the casuals was unknown. The streets, we knew everything about what was happening, what was popping. We didn't care what song the chick wanted to listen to. She was gonna listen to the whole D Block Rockefeller. She's gonna listen to what we were playing in the car. We didn't have that, If you in during that time, that's why I try to tell them. I done told them since '95. Don't come around when I'm listening to music with the fellas. Now we got time where we'll listen to your stuff as me and you. We just riding around. You put on that stuff to it. But when I'm in my zone and I got Cuban Links, I got Iron Man, I got all my songs, my Wu-Tang, you don't need to be around. So what's up, T Love? I see you. Thanks for everybody who hit up my Cash App yesterday for Easter. God bless y'all for that. God bless you for that. Wu-Tang was never trash. Never in a day. He had some street sweeper songs on there, and a lot of people was bringing a workout. 50 Cent was messing with K Slay because Clue was trying to get people like, yo, we from Queens, you got to give me that joint. The Fifth knew K Slay is killing it. Like the streets got him. Like y'all done went Hollywood, which they was. Clue got a record deal. He dealing with them. They putting out records. They went mainstream. So they were more Hollywood and they knew everything. They wasn't hungry no more. And K Slay had the streets. And off the strength of the streets, he then came up. He was the first DJ in New York to put 3-6 on that Where You From. He put 3-6 Mafia on there. No New York DJ ever did that. Street Sweepers Volume 2. Volume 2, baby. He put 3-6 Mafia on there. And even though that was not a big major song, a lot of people bumped that record. They played that record. And that extended and it showed people in the South, in the Midwest, and everywhere else. There's some people in New York trying to give us a chance. Everybody know what K Slay was in the streets. He was building himself up and he's cool enough to let 3-6 Mafia get on a record. K Slay was paving the way and showing love to all the other Midwest. K Slay came to the Midwest, kicked it, was listening to the artist. He listened to about at least 48 songs, 48 or more songs out here in the Midwest, trying to see what was hot that he could put on an album. Who was an upcoming artist that they had. He wanted to know what the streets had. Whoever had a buzz in the streets, he was going to get that record out. And here's something you guys probably didn't even notice. Rockefeller, and if you watch the Kanye West Genius series on Netflix, you see something very crucial and critical in that whole subject and all that was being played out because DJ K. Slay started dealing with Ludacris. When he brought in DTP, all the mainstream people just wanted Luda. They didn't want DTP. They wanted Ludacris. He was putting out DTP and Ludacris on his joints. And because he showed that love to Ludacris, Luda looked out for him and told him, there's a rapper that's signed to Rockefeller right now who just got signed, and he's a producer, and he's coming up. Name is Kanye West. Make sure he's from Chicago. Make sure you check him out. K. Slay heard. He heard in New York when Kanye was out there doing some work, trying to get studio time to record because Rockefeller didn't even release a budget for his album. So he's paying out of pocket from producing records and songs for everybody else. It's like, oh, this dude actually rap too. K. Slay was paying attention and wanted Kanye West to do a song for Papoose. Produce a beat and everything. This was back then. He was aware. He wanted this to happen. Jay-Z blocked all of it. Jay-Z found out, blocked all of it. So K. Slay had his ears to the streets. So he knew Kanye West was coming along. Like this guy Kanye, and there was a couple other artists in the Midwest. He had their records, but they didn't have a big buzz in the street yet. So he was like, man, these some good songs, man, but y'all got to get a buzz out here so I can put him on a record. But he was talking to people in the streets. You know what I'm saying? So the Drama King kept it real. And even when they tried to make him mainstream in Hot 97, they basically gave him that job so they can keep him in-house. But Funk Master Flex and his relationship with Nas got severed due to the Jay-Z relationship with Angie and all that. That all got severed at that time. He didn't trust them. Then with the Summer Jam incident, he was out. Yeah, and then NFL Street came along. NFL Street, the video game, when that came along, K. Slate was like all over it. That was like NBA Street because everybody wanted to go back to the streets. The street sound was what everybody wanted to be. The underground. Nobody wanted to be pop no more. Pop had became too materialized. So everybody's like, that's just too commercial now. I don't want it. Pop is where it's at. Hit the like button one time for the legendary DJ K. Slay. I knew HD would say that phrase. I'll smack your favorite DJ. Yeah, because you see this towering 6 foot four giant walking by. All the DJs was like 5'5" in New York. I smack your favorite DJ. He was battling COVID, man. He had it really bad and was ill for a while. I mean, for months. He's been because he's already had conditions before, you know. A lot of his opportunities were locked up because of Jay-Z. Jay-Z is one of the main people who tried to derail K Slade's whole career. He was always against DJ K Slade, holding on to a grudge for like 20 years. That's because he mad that he had the Ether record. He didn't make Ether, or he was the one that was pushing the Harlem versus Brooklyn thing. And then when Jay and Dipset went at it, and how that split up happened, and he went after him with Dame and the Rockefeller breaking up. K Slade is right there. So he had all the hot records. K Slade premiered that record. You gotta hate us the way we getting this paper. Oh, just coming straight from way. The only song he didn't premiere was Super Ugly from Jay-Z. Jay-Z gave it the Hot 97, exclusive Hot 97. It's crazy. But he had he put Busta Rhymes, Lazy Bone, T-Pain, Rick Ross, Nelly, French Montana. You know, he had 110 artists. Remember that rolling 110 deep? And he had 110 rap artists on there from the streets. Where you've seen Cool G rap, you got Shaq, Ice T, KRS-One, Omar Epps. And I was telling people for years, I've seen Omar Epps give people the business. Like he was really rapping at that time. But he blended everybody together, you know. Then he became the like King magazine. uh like he became like this ambassador for like all these women that video vixens that's coming around. He was like managing them from the streets. And he got mad at me one time. One of my videos got him upset, man. K Slade was mad at me. Um, I think I did a video about him and I think Buffy the Body, I believe, and how he was really like he loved that girl. He was like, "Man, I want in love with this damn girl." What the hell you mean? He was mad as hell. I said that he was like he loved that girl. I'm like, man, you really was heartbroken over what she did. Nigga, I wasn't no heartbroken over that. Oh, he was mad as hell. He went to another interview with somebody else immediately and did an interview about it. He wanted to reach out to me immediately. Like I'm talking to him. Yeah, she basically played him. And nobody want to be looking weak in a situation. So he looked really weak in that situation. And it didn't turn out favorable for him. And I spoke about what happened in the video, and he was not happy about that. Oh no, I wouldn't lie about that. I wouldn't lie about that. K Slay reached out to me. Yeah, over that video, K Slay reached out to me. Matter of fact, I don't even know how he got my information, but he got in touch with me. Did we ever piece it up? I think we came to an understanding. Like he was just upset. Period. That happened. Like he just wanted to tell his side of the story, and like, how he disagreed with with my version of the story. He felt like my version of the story is how she's telling it, and he wanted to come. He wanted to tell it like his side of the story. So it's not like he never heard that before. He's hearing that and was like, this is not true. Yeah, I'm like, no, I'm helping her out. I love her more like a sister. She was cool, but man, I ain't tripping over that. Like man, so what? I gave him a gift and this and that. That ain't nothing. He wanted to be heard. But he was not trying to do an interview on it. He didn't want an interview. He just wanted to be heard. I was like, all right, well, let's put something out. No, no, no. This off the record. I'm just letting you know. No, K ain't never been slayed, brother. He ain't never been slayed. Yeah, that was a whole different time. But right, that was a whole different time. But if you look at it, you see the realness in it. They put a lot of people on. He had a lot of health issues going on, undisclosed. So when he got COVID, that just messed up a lot of things and accelerated a lot of the problems that he had going on already. So again, it just started to tear up his body to where he couldn't even fight. And he was fighting for the longest. Like he's been sick for a long time. And I would think the family did not want, like people putting that out in the media or anything else to try to, mess up his brand. And I think Whack 100 said something stupid, he always do. Because that's his new life now. Because he wasn't making no money nowhere else. So now he decided to become a what they call a podcaster, just keep throwing stuff up against the wall, hoping it stick. That's what I'm saying, man. Get your T going, get your T game up. It's this for real out here. So if anybody don't see me post anything on IG for some weird reason, Errol Spence then got me suspended for 3 days for the video. I guess he didn't like the video I put up, and he went and had IG suspend me for 3 days. So we finna go ahead and see what's going on. But Errol Spence, you don't want to step in that hole. I'm trying to tell you, don't do it, Errol. And Errol, I mean, it was so stupid. Now, all I can tell you is his team, Errol Spence. So somebody on his team did it, not probably Errol himself, because I refuse to believe Errol Spence would be that thin skinned. The video is on One Crack News anyway. And all it is a clip of his audio calling out Terrence Crawford. And then it shows the Tupac from Juice, that quote, and then that's it. And it's Terrence, it shows Errol, and it shows the Tupac clip, and it has like two, maybe it's like a one G. So I said, all right, I'll make a short out of it and put it on YouTube. And now, how could that video be a problem when that video is on Facebook and there's no problem? That video is on YouTube and it's cool enough to be monetized. What is the problem? What is the problem? I know, for breaking ether, right? Exactly. That's how a lot of people knew who K Slay was, like throughout the main circuit. We went through the whole breakthrough and how all of this was related to Jay-Z, and Jay-Z did a lot to hinder that man's career. K Slay would have been a lot bigger than what he was. As much as we know him, he would have been a lot bigger if he didn't run into a lot of red tape from Jay-Z. Right. I didn't even have time to really focus on it because it was Easter. But I'm like, 3 days? How the hell? What the hell am I suspended for? Like, there's no details of anything except that that's the last thing I posted, and it was starting to take off. And next thing you know, I sent it to them. Like I sent it. Bud got it. Everybody in Bud's team got it. Um, yeah, we brought up the Papoose connection because that's back when the DJs was putting out the rappers, and they was trying to get back and develop their own rapper and put them out. And K Slay wanted a battle. You know, Clue had Fab, Swiss had Cassidy, and Papoose, K Slay had Papoose. And they was like, let's go. Let's battle. You know, they was gonna do a battle. Cassidy was with it, but Clue was like, man, trying to keep Fab out of that. Like Fab, we ain't gotta go that route. Bron ain't got me suspend nothing. LeBron ain't did a damn thing. Now that's one thing he never did. Now, if anybody could have done anything, I rarely post anything on Errol Spence. Period. On my IG. The one time I do, I get a 3 day suspension. It's like, is somebody on crack over there? DJ Who Kid is just one of those guys that's like, you know how you create your own DJ or you pretty much bring them along. That's Who Kid. Who Kid is not a street guy like that. He's more industry guy than street. He did. Nas did, but he's from Harlem. So the thing is that he wanted that Harlem connection. And when he went over there, he knew Jay-Z in that energy was already against K Slay. Nas was smart. He knew what was going on. But he can't go to Clue because Clue is signed with Desert Storm Rockefeller. Like I told you, when they did the song for Clue, it was in the middle of that drama with Jay in it, with Mobb Deep and all of this stuff. So Mobb had did that song with Clue, and they was like, man, is they gonna put this out on Rockefeller or is it not coming out? What's gonna happen? Because it was a lot of tension. But Mobb Deep and Nas did do a record exclusively with Clue. And they did that live from the bridge. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto, Clue slayed that one. NBA Street in 2004 was DJ K Slay. He had all the NBA Street. So if anybody remember NFL Street and NBA Street, that was mostly K Slay. I smack your favorite DJ. He said, who did he smack? I don't know who he smacked. I remember he always said he would smack your favorite DJ. But he took a job at Hot 97. And that's probably why Nas is like, I can't do no more K Slay because I don't know how that's gonna go. But he started working at Hot 97. Oh, Big Mike just loves me. Big Mike, man. And I was like, man, I liked him as a rapper. He did not like what I did, my truth behind, or he wanted, man, man, you talk about somebody don't like me, is Big Mike. Tell you, boy, people don't like, they say they want the truth. They really don't want the truth. If you don't tell the story and make them look like a superhero, man, the Hollywood Walk of Fame, if you got it, hell, I can get one. You could buy that. You could buy that, bro. No one cares about it. I mean, you can be an extra. It'd be like, this guy was an extra on the TV show. Leave it to Johnny. You'd be like, leave it to Johnny. Never heard of it. Hell yeah, the majority of hip hop listen to my videos, especially more back then. Because back then, YouTube wasn't structured the way it is now. Ever since like 2017, 18, around that time, they started structuring it to sabotage and tear down creators and put them in boxes. And they try to make it look like, oh, and they named it the algorithm. It's the algorithm. The algorithm means you're black, you're not making the content that we like or care about. So this is what we're going to do for you. We're going to put you in this box. You're getting way too many views. So that means you're going into search engines that you shouldn't. So we're going to just knock off 60% of your views. Even though you got the subscribers, we're going to just block all that. And then we're going to come up with this thing called the bell. Now they got to go ring a bell. So when you had all this before they had all that garbage and start putting in things and more obstacles and hoops to make people jump through to try to get what they've already subscribed for. And at that time, YouTube was just a basis for creators. Then YouTube became the whore for the ad revenue companies. You know, they tried to be like, I'm an independent woman. Now they got the hoe boots on and they on the corner. And this is what they do. Oh, I checked it out till I passed out. I got to go and finish watching HD Live because I told you I was gonna go upstairs and have it playing. I sure did, and I went right out. And when I woke up, it was on like some video I did like probably 3 months ago. It was Kwame Brown. That's how people be winding up in my dreams. It'd be crazy because the YouTube would be playing, and I could hear it on sleep. Next thing you know, I'm dreaming like everything that I'm hearing about. It's the craziest thing ever. Like HD and Kwame Brown was in there. Oh yeah, man. When I dropped the video, and like I said, Oskino had a video in there where Oskino was calling this dude all anything but the name of God and talking about, basically he was like 6'9", a rat, which the dude was a rat, but then the dude ended up getting smoked, back in Philly. So he was just like, man, even though I said that and what happened, that dude got kids, don't bring that up. Just can you just please take that down for me? And I took it down for him. That was a popular video. That video was through the roof. He called me up and I took it down instantly for him. No hesitation. That's my saying. I don't want to be saying pig folks. First time I heard somebody say pink folks was Tupac. So I really got it from Pac. And we used to say it out here in the Midwest, all them pink folks. And it was just going on like that. That was Pac. Pac was the one who I got it from. And then we started saying it like, how you say things and then just going around the neighborhood. So we was using pink folks for a long time. He did have medical issues. Yep, I forgot to mention that. I'm not a writer, I'm a biter. I'm not a writer, I'm a biter. Yep. And they brought up all that. That's why I told you Jay-Z has been holding on to a grudge for over 20 years with that man. He's cost that man many of opportunities and blocked it. Kanye West would have been working with K Slade. Yeah, I'm not a writer, I'm a biter. That was already out. And then Cameron got it and got on there. That was already out. I'm not a biter, I'm a writer. I'm not a biter, I'm a writer. When that was out, they went ahead. Cameron went and got on it later. Like it was already out on. I had the whole thing without Cameron on it, and Cameron just started hosting it when he started beefing with Jay. I mean, Jay Z wanted to find out who actually made it, and the guy who actually made it, they put so much pressure on him that he ended up doing one against Cameron. No, Rockefeller didn't release a budget. If you watch that Genius, it's telling you the secrets. A lot of secrets are revealed in that Genius when they were filming. I never did a review on it because I'm so pissed at Kanye West and all the BS he was doing. I did not even review the Netflix series. I'm doing it on the Patreon today. There's so many jewels in episode one of that 3-part series. Oh yeah, and the Batman is out on HBO Max too, by the way. Yeah, Jay Z blocked the Papoose because he knew I can't. He knew who he was attached to, and he's like, I can't let that happen. He blocked it. His arrogance is what made Cassidy go to the top and ruined his whole relationship with Swiss because he felt like Swiss duped him. But Jay's ego, because they was up there in Hot 97, basically slaying Nas and dissing Mob Deep for like 3 hours straight up there at Hot 97. So they was feeling themselves. They come out of there and freeway all this and that, pumped up, and then Swiss tell Jay, I got the best rapper, period. I got the best rapper in the world with me. He from Philly. And he was like, he from Philly. And so Beans is there like he hit free like you got the best rapper. Cassidy. Who was Cassidy? And, and Cassidy was like real arrogant, short and cocky. Cassidy, don't act surprised. It was like get him. Jay was like, all right, what you want to bet? Jay was like, let's bet. Free. Where free at? Free. He Swiss said he got the best rapper, so somebody recorded it. The wrong thing you do before a layout is put your prized signed artist into a freestyle battle against an unknown. That hurt Freeway's whole image. Even though what they did was wrong and all that, that album did not take off. It hurt Freeway's stock and really lowered him into the ground. That was the promo for Cassidy. And at that time, Swiss and Jay, like their friendship was a little severed. Right. You don't do that. That's like you a fighter got a boxing match coming up. You don't put him in a bare knuckles fight with any unknown. You don't know the situation or how it could turn out. And Cassidy embarrassed Freeway. If Freeway would have just held his own, then it would have been some saving grace. And it would have, if it had just been the word of mouth, which was floating around at that time, then, you know, maybe. But they got it on video. And right then and there, Cassidy became the illest in Philly. Just like that. Yo, somebody put on a beat. Somebody put on a beat. No, Beans wanted to take him. Beans wanted to get in there and spill with him. And Jay was like, no, don't. We done for the night. Jay realized he just messed up and ruined it, damaged everything. Cassidy was on his way. Well, yeah, see, that's how they made their money. Anybody who was signing that artist was signing away everything. And Jay was using them for all their creativity and everything. They had the streets. Like Philly would have been running hip hop, but Philly problem is why Chicago couldn't blow up. Is why everybody else couldn't do it. Atlanta blew up because it's a gumbo pot of everybody else from Chicago and everyone else. And they end up going to Atlanta, but they stayed unified. They weren't too busy trying to fight each other. Now they out there fighting each other because you got all these people from different areas. New York, Chicago, so everybody in there fighting each other. It's stupid. But the South used to get along. Then they started bringing all that nonsense over there. Philly was too busy fighting each other. It's like, dude, why are you fighting the brother that was on your block who's in the same boat as you? What you fighting him for? Well, it's a different situation because Dutch and Spado, and all those guys from Gilly and all them, when they was making major figures and doing that, they was coming up, and Jay wanted to basically control that, but Jay has so much power, he just gets off on power. It's just some people that get off on making decisions. They don't care who life they. Yeah, Chicago kept beefing with each other. Like, if one artist in Chicago start to blow, it'd be another Chicago artist trying to take them down. It's like, why? I mean, as soon as Chief Keef blew, everybody was trying to take him down. And then when Lil Durk started, when he first came out, you got all these other rappers trying to take him down. They trying to blow up off taking down the Chicago artist that's out there. Yeah, they signed with and was gonna put them on Diaz. I mean I mean not on Diaz, but Undertainment. That's when he got the $60 million deal from Sony. But all his projects was they didn't live up to the standards of what was on the table. They had Sauce Money album come out and it didn't do what it was supposed to do. The Middle Finger You, Charlie Baltimore album didn't come out. They wasted a lot of money on that project. Like, it was so much money spent. So Sony, I guess he didn't read the contract. Didn't. And in the contract, yeah, it was for 60 million. But there's if you don't meet certain criterias, they could restructure the contract. He didn't know that. He just thought like, hey, I'm getting $60 million to play with. Nah. Oh no. Charlie was there because I remember when Big brought Charlie around. To me, Charlie Baltimore wasn't fine at all. She wasn't. Not to me. She was just more street and more hood and can hold it down more than anybody they ever knew. Like Charlie was the girl that was like petite and everything, but she was definitely one that was. I know. I got on that sixes, looking like that young Eagle Dollar. Yeah, when they created the Streets game, K Slay had those. When Grand Theft Auto was doing their thing, Clue started doing the Grand Theft Autos. Yeah, I remember that time. Because that's how Biggie looked at it. Because that's how growing up, that was always the detraction that was thrown to him. So if somebody called you black and ugly all the time, man, you black, you ugly, they always say it as a negative. The opposite of that must be positive. That's why he said, okay, I know I'm black as ugly as ever, but however, I stay Gucci down to the socks. So he already put that on himself because they used to always talk about him that way. So he see a light skinned girl is like, see, she fine, she light skinned, because that's the way they mentally programmed him to be. Yeah, it's terrible, but that's how the mental brainwash is. And it was like, that's crazy because everybody else is trying to be you. They want you to believe what you is a detraction, but they trying to be you. They in the tanning beds. They getting Botox in the lips. They getting butt implants. They trying to be you, and they want you to hate being you. Where did that make sense at? How they gonna convince you? How they gonna convince you is what's bad, and they trying to be you? And it's the whole thing. They do it here on YouTube. They convince you suck, but watch me do what he doing. But he suck. But I'm doing the same thing over here. Come check me out. Oh my God. YouTube WWF. Yeah, without no actual fight. It's like, hey, somebody right here is like, Sano hit him with a right. Another right. Oh, Sano's knocking him out right now. Oh, he's down. Man, what is that? They just handed Sano an object. The referee's distracted. Sano throws it out of the ring. 1, 2, 3. Ding, ding, ding. And that's funny. Lady Black got timed out. I don't know what Lady Black said, but normally when you see a Lady Black, it's probably a dude. Oh man. Yes. My nose is wide. Good. Breathing up all the white man's air. Taking it. It's mine. My air. Oh man. your nose is one of the lineage, the ways they used to identify you by tribes. They used to use your facial features to identify you into tribes. This is how your ancestors used to do it. They ain't have ancestry.com. They look at you, they grab your head, your ears, nose, look at you and tell where you were from, which tribe. Seriously, that's how they determine where you were from. HD coming from the top, bro. Where my glass? Yeah, I gotta call moms in a minute. Mom don't want to talk. I gotta answer all these damn emails. I had to keep telling people don't say that. I told LL Cool J. LL Cool J said that. And I told him, I said, man, you gotta stop saying that. He was like, what you talking about? I said, L, you can't say you're a Blackfoot Indian. I'm like, quit saying that you're a Blackfoot Indian. I'm like, what is a Blackfoot Indian? My family, they was from the Blackfoot Indian tribe. I said, well, how did they get the name Blackfoot Indian? Because the Indians, right, that they were, crossed over through in Louisiana swamps, right? And when they were stepping in there, in them swamps and crossing over, all of their feet were covered and they were black. So they just called them the Blackfoot Indians when they came over. There is no tribe called the Blackfoot Indians. Stop saying that. So I try to tell people that there is no tribe called the Blackfoot Indians. That's them we made up. The Pakistanians. Well, that's why the war in Israel will go on forever. It's because our cousins sold us out to get us out of power and control of Israel. They wanted it for themselves. They set it up, got us put in slavery, got us moved out, and they thought they were going to be running things. And the Israelis said, nah, we going to run things. There's been a change in plans. Change in plans? Yeah, the Palestinians. Sorry. Not the Pakistanis. I'm just saying. Palestinians did that. And got us shipped over here to America doing the same work, and they went over there and took us out there. They don't teach you that in history. Took the keys to the kingdom, and now all these Romanians acting like they come from Israel. And Israel is their land. It's like you ever hear somebody tell you that they're a Romanian Jew? When you hear that, just go. Romania is that close? How is Israel your land? So you was in Romania. So how is Israel your land? I don't understand. So there was a pilgrimage from Romania. We're going to Israel. We're gonna go over to Romania. Right? We're coming back to claim it. It's ours. Yeah, me and this Jewish chick fell out. She unfollowed me. She was out here, and I'm like, look, you don't really understand anything. But you post this stuff on IG, and people be letting you get away with it. And I had to let her know, like, we need to have a conversation now. Yeah, I did. She unfollowed me. I think I was blocked because her mind wasn't ready for any of that. Like, your daddy lied. Daddy got money, but daddy lied. Your dad lied to you. I remember I saw her daddy too. His daddy pulled up to this place that we used to go, Rocky Vander's. Dad pulled up in a drop top Mercedes. Like, look at my dad. He's got a drop top Mercedes. I'm like, so this Floyd Mayweather got that. He had that years ago. I ain't impressed. I didn't see a drop top Mercedes before. And I mean, he wanted to drive around to be seen too. Like, he was the man. You had to put him in his place. Oh no, his thing is he was upset with me because I wouldn't give him what he wanted. He wanted my respect. He wanted me to like basically be impressed, like some of my other buddies were. The ooh and ah of this car. I'm like, I've seen better. I just had. It was nothing for me to drool over. Oh, It's funny because all my buddies then pile drive his daughter. I'm like, yeah, they gave her. She was had a Mandingo party every night. I'm the only one that didn't hit it. Probably might be some other people, but I don't even know them. One of the brothers got out of jail, and they invited her over. Just like, look, go take the car, go right around the corner, and she'll take care of you. That's how it was for him, and I'm not impressed with girls like that. So he wasn't impressing me. I'm like, your daughter ain't impressing me. Your car ain't impressing me. So her Instagram posts weren't impressing me because she ain't living up to none of the codes. She was having a Mandingo party every day. Yeah, it certainly was. That was you. That's Nicholas Jacobs, the long distance cousin of Coco Beware. Pile driver. The pile driver video too. I can see Nicholas with that headband on. Ooh, pile driver. That is a hilarious video. Because that first album was a hit. The pile driver album. I forgot how, but something happened. I remember Damien died. The snake Damien died. And it was WWE's fault. Now, a lot of people gonna blame Jake, but it was WWE's fault. Now, they normally had, when they put Damien into the place, it didn't have a lot of oxygen. And they never talked about this. It had like, they made a mistake when transferring Damien, and then they put Damien in the place where they like locked the thing in. It's like almost if you put some in the top compartment in an airplane, it was compressed and it was like not a lot of oxygen in there, and Damien kind of suffocated. So Jake had to get a new snake. So they had to kill Damien, and they knew Jake can just grab another snake and come out of there. They tied it into the storyline. So they made Earthquake. They made that the new beef, and Earthquake killed Damien. They made it like he came in there and smashed Damien. Boom! And made it look like he killed Damien. But Damien was already dead. I think that snake was dead and buried. They just did the storyline so that Jake could bring in. He had this albino snake, and that thing was out of control. That thing was, it did a couple of good shows, and it had some nights it ain't feel like performing. Yeah, he came out with like this albino looking snake. That thing was unpredictable. And that's one thing people don't know about snakes. And the whole thing about snakes is that they got attitudes. All of them are different, just like pets. And some are easy, some can't be broken in. They ain't made for the business. They have problems adjusting. Now the problem was they switched and went to a king cobra. Jake started bringing in cobras and stuff, and now you're going into a deadly type of snakes. Where instead of getting a snake that just can suffer, basically squeeze and, and start cutting off your circulation, now now you dealing with something with venom. And this was the start. Well, thank you, Gilbert Arenas. Appreciate that. Now, here's the problem. And I want people to know that. Here's what the problem was. Mm-mm. They would take the venom out of the snake, have them devenom. But even if you do that, they can process venom. There's no time limit on how long the venom's gonna come back. And even if you extract all the venom out of them and basically make them, they can still squeeze enough venom to F you up for life. And that's what happened to Macho Man. Thank you for the super chat. Now, Macho Man agreed with Jake. Vince McMahon came up with the script. It's like, we can devenomize him, have him bite Randy in the ring. But see, the thing is, Macho Man was so skeptical of everything. He didn't trust Jake. He didn't trust Vince. He didn't want him. Right after they did the snake, they got the snake devenomized. They got an expert in there to take all the venom out. Like the day of, like they took all the venom out of the snake. Macho Man came right in that locker room. Somebody said, "Where's my chest?" I don't even understand. Anyway, I don't even understand what these people be talking about. Now, after all of this took place, you have a situation now where he bursts into the locker room like a bull in a china shop, busts his in. Randy goes right up to Jake. Jake is getting suited up, and he's telling him, in there, yeah, I see you got the snake out. But I don't never see you get bit by a snake. I don't trust it. I don't trust you, Roberts. And I don't trust Vince. I want to see the snake bite you then. Right here, right now. I want to see that same snake bite you. I know you want my spot. So he came right in there, bit him. Jake was, I'll tell you what, brother. I'll get the snake out. And I'll show you. So he let the snake bite him. Jake slapped the snake and let the snake bit him. So when he bit Randy in the ring, there was a problem. When snakes, king cobras get angry, it's just like when you produce adrenaline. They could produce, even when they've been taken out of venom, when they get angry, they could produce some venom. It's not going to be enough to probably kill you, but it'll be enough to do some damage, especially if you let the bite stay for as long as they did. That was the problem. So when he had Macho Man in the ropes and he let the snake bite him on the arm, the snake stayed there and was pressing and trying to get every bit of venom out of its muscles. So after the scene was over, the whole show was over, Macho Man almost had to be hospitalized. His temperature was almost 200 degrees. He was shaking. And they was about to call 911. He did not want to go in. They put a whole tub full of ice and had Macho Man in the tub with ice, and they had cold water running on him to try to keep his temperature down. He almost died that night. And ever since then, he had heart trouble. He had problems with his heart, having heart murmurs, which pretty much led to his heart attack. Jake used to do crazy stuff all the time. So for Jake, it's different. Like he used to take shots of snake venom. In Japan, he used to do that. See, when they used to wrestle, they used to travel to Japan and all this. And Japan was a huge wrestling hub, especially in the 70s and 80s. That's where you made the majority of your money. If you were able to go to Japan, you were doing great. So they'll go out there, and one of the drinks that they would do is they would take a snake. They have snakes like in the doggone jar. Take a snake, split his stomach open, and basically put venom in your drink. Mix it up with liquor, and you take the shot. Some people have died doing this. Oh no, they all start taking the new designer steroid. The new designer steroid they had was like, this was in, I would say, 99, 98, 99. It was this new designer steroid called EPO. So the EPO was new and advanced, safe, undetectable, and get you results so quick. This EPO. So this thing will get you jacked up. You can go in there, you can blow up in less than 3 weeks. It was so big at the time. Everybody and their mama was taking it. Then it became the new drug, EPO. But EPO has done so much damage to the inside of your bodies. It was like jacking up a racehorse. And a lot of this stuff was not FDA approved. And everybody started taking it in 98 and 99. In 98, 99, it was just a freak show. Everybody, from when you was a little lightweight, everybody's got 6-packs, everybody looking like action figures. I mean, from Randy Orton to Poffo, the genius. All of these guys are jacked up. But see, the genius was using the old steroids. He knew he was taking it. He was taking him, Rick Martel. They were all taking the other steroid, the one back in the day. They weren't taking the new EPO thing. This was way before their time. But now you got like Buff Bagwell, Scott Steiner. You know, you got these guys who's taking EPO allegedly. You gotta put that out there. Randy Orton was taking it. Definitely. He was around this time. He was taking it. This is right before Evolution and all of that. But yeah, they started. This is going to go into the new wave, the 2003 wave. See, in 2003 came something else. 2003, 2004. If about 3 years, this is when the new one came onto the stream. And that one ended up going into the industry. All the wrestlers was taking it, from Hogan and all the rest of them. But that went to the Hollywood industry. So Dr. Dre, Timberland, 50 Cent, those guys, Busta Rhymes. And you see how all of them look jacked. I'm like, Timberland was a big fat dude sitting around making beats, drinking out of a doggone 2-liter container, making tracks. And he coming in here jacked up with arms. Yeah. I'm like, what the hell is that? Timberland or Dr. Dre? Dr. Dre all cut up now. Yeah. I'm like, Busta Rhymes. He was a little skinny dude. Now I'm Busta Rhymes. I'm like, damn, Busta Jack. What the hell going on? Everybody. No, 99 was the birth of the EPO. That's when, for the wrestlers. This is when this new age came in. And that was the one that had the mix that you saw everybody dropping dead like 2-3 years after taking that one. Eddie Guerrero, heart attack. Everybody else, heart attacks. Dropping dead, heart attacks. Professional wrestlers. Everybody, heart attacks. They were falling. Arnold Schwarzenegger, he died. Arnold Schwarzenegger had a heart attack and died. Nobody really knows. I know. Schwarzenegger had dropped completely flatline. They took him into the hospital without him being on a list or nothing and gave him a heart transplant. New heart, just like that. He was gone. Research it and see what you find. You'll be surprised. When was this? This was it's in the 2000s. It was in the 2000s. Oh, I will do a Patreon because today we finna do the Kanye West, and you're gonna see why I didn't do a review on Genius and all this stuff, and all the jewels that was dropped in the first episode. But damn, it's almost been 2 hours. Let me get up out of here. All right, thank you guys. We'll get out of here. I ain't know it's been 2 hours. Damn, I was having too much fun. All right, let me get out of here. I gotta get some work done. I had called my mom. Oh man, it's 11. Damn, let me get to work.